Yo guys, my name is Zopreme, and in today's video we'll talk about The Flash Season 4 and will the Speedforce make Barry smarter? So guys, The Flash Season 4 Episode 1 trailer did recently drop, and there was a lot of new footage that did suggest a few things. In the trailer we saw Barry confused after returning from the Speedforce, and we also saw a scene where Barry was kind of confused and he was writing on a board, and there was like a rush of lightning going through his eyes. So it looked like Barry was actually writing a bunch of, formulas and equations on this board, which was most likely taught to him by the Speedforce, and that's the only other explanation that you could figure out really, because Barry wouldn't just write a bunch of, formulas on a board for no reason. Maybe a manifestation of the Speedforce taught him this knowledge, like for example when we saw Eddie Thorne in the Speedforce with Barry, and then when we saw Nora Allen holding Barry's hand to go into the Speedforce at the end of season 3. Eddie and Nora were both manifestations of the Speedforce, because of course we know both characters are dead. This could definitely happen with, the Speedforce giving Barry more knowledge of a bunch of things when Barry's actually stuck in the Speedforce for this 6-month gap. The other way he could actually learn more is maybe when he's reliving his life over and over again, picks out things that maybe has mucked his life up and he could have changed, and he's got a better grasp of what he needs to do in life, making him smarter, and maybe he remembers things and figures out stuff watching his life over again. The knowledge that he learnt, or would probably learn, would be about time travel rules and how the Speedforce works generally, and there's a lot to learn about time travel and the Speedforce, so that's why Barry's writing so much on the board. So when Barry does return, and we're a few episodes in, I do think we'll see the effects the Speedforce has had on him to do with his intelligence and him being smarter. So maybe when we saw future Barry tell the other Barry not to actually try and save his mom in the actual night his mom died, maybe that Barry telling Barry not to is the one that has all the knowledge of the Speedforce and rules and knows how to not mess up time. So that's the effects of the Speedforce on Barry, and the Speedforce teaching Barry essentially. So it's definitely a massive life lesson, and it'll make Barry a better hero in general. He'll have more knowledge of time travel, the Speedforce. And of course we know in season 4 there's not going to be any time travel, so maybe that's the reason it isn't, because the Speedforce has taught Barry the rules, so he's like, I'm not going to time travel as much. So with the Speedforce giving Barry all this information, I imagine he has to write it all down on the board and write down all that he's learnt on this board, because he's really confused when he comes back, and he's probably trying to make sense of what's going on. So he writes all that's happening in his brain, that he remembers that he's got in his brain, and he writes it down on the board. This is like, a scientist with all the knowledge he has, writing formulas, write it down on a chalkboard. The lightning going through his eyes is most likely a reference to him writing all this knowledge down of the Speedforce, and like he's so energetic and he needs to write all this information down and put it on a board so he remembers it essentially, and he can refer to it, go back to it when he needs to. So yeah guys, 10 comments below, do you think overall Barry will learn lessons from the Speedforce which will contribute to him getting smarter, and which will link to the Flash Season 4 villain being the thinker? So yeah guys, I did highlight this video. My name is Zopreme. You guys have been the best as always. Peace out.